Hello and welcome, my dear students, to my channel Mathematics Made Easy. This is Ms. Ruchika welcoming you to today's session. In today's revision session, especially for grade 11 advanced, we are revising ellipses. So today in this session, we are going to be covering the most important questions from your exam coverage EOT for term 2 for grade 11. And in this session, we are going to be focusing on FRQ learning objective number 19, graph equations of ellipses. So on the screen you see the formula sheet which is expected to be learned by you so that you can solve the questions correctly and in less time. So in these questions which we are about to do, we will be focusing on equations of ellipses centered at h comma k. Okay, so here the center would be h comma k, and we will do a translation as you can see in the animation. So the center changes accordingly. Okay, so now we are ready to solve these questions. We'll be using the formula sheet I showed you. So compare now this with x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equal to 1, denominator a square, denominator b square. So one trick which I will tell you, look at the denominators. The value of the denominator will tell you, um, which term is having bigger denominator, and accordingly you will take your equation that will help you. So let's look at this question 24. So your h is 3, your k is 2, very easy to identify. Now look at the denominator. Which one has bigger denominator? This one. So if y square term has bigger denominator, this is very important point, then it's going to be a vertical ellipse. So your major axis will be given by, length of major axis will be given by 2a. Okay, so what's your value of a? Let's find it from here. So a square will be the bigger value always, huh? So a square is 128 and b square is 36. So can I say I will accordingly now change my equation, because this is a square, so this and this. So that's how you identify which equation is going to help you. So in this question we are solving vertical ellipse, so I will use this formula. Now once you have your a square and b square, you can find your c square by subtracting. So this is the formula we used. So let's do this. 128 minus 36, so 92. Now this is the value of c square. We need c because that will help you to get the coordinates of the focus. And if you go back to the question once again, what all is asked? Let's see. First center, then foci, you need the coordinates, then you need length of major axis, you need minor axis, and then finally you need to graph. So 5 things are asked. It will come for a long question. You have to show all the steps, you have to write all the formulas. If you miss anything, you will lose marks. So be careful to present your answers well. So first thing, center is done, h comma k, so 3 comma 2, so 1 mark you get for center. Now let's move to foci. So the formula sheet for foci for the vertical ellipse is given by h comma k plus minus c. So let's put the value. H is 3, k is 2, plus minus square root 92. So use your calculator. Square root of 92, you can get it on your calculator, and it will come out to be a decimal obviously, so you can find its value and then simplify. Remember, in an ellipse there are two foci, so one will be with plus c, one will be with minus c. So accordingly, let's do the calculation. So my value for square root of 92 comes out to be 9.59. So I will put that 9.59, and accordingly the two foci will come out to be 3, 11.59 with the plus sign, and the second foci will be 3, now you subtract, so 2 minus 9.59, that is minus 7.59. Wonderful. So we get 1 mark for center, we get 1 mark for foci, length of major axis already 2a we know, so square root 128, a square is this, so we'll take the square root. So square root of 128 will be 11.3, multiply with 2, so this will give you approximately 22 point, let me round it off, 63. Okay, so you get the major axis. Now comes minor axis. Length of minor axis is given by 2b. So 2 square root 36. This is a perfect square. So 2 multiplied with 6, 12. That's your minor axis. Okay, so we have everything. Now we are ready to do the graph of the ellipse, and that I'll be doing on the next slide. And just remember, to do the graph, you need for ellipses 4 points. You need 2 vertices. You need 2 co-vertices. Once you get this, you can just join them, pass them through the center, and draw your ellipse. So let's draw it on the next slide and see what kind of a vertical ellipse we are getting. Similarly, I would want you to try question 25 and we'll check your answers in a few minutes. Okay, so if we use the formula sheet for vertical ellipse, this is vertical, then we know the vertices are given by h comma k plus minus a. So let's put the value. H is 3, k is 2, and plus minus a value means the square root, which we got in the previous slide. So that was 6 for this question. We'll put the value 6. So we get the two coordinates of the vertices as 3, 8 and 3, minus 4. So we will go to the graph and plot these points. So 3 and 8. So x is 3 means somewhere here, and y is 8 means somewhere here. So that's your point. Similarly, for this one, also we do the co-vertices. So co-vertices are given by h plus minus b comma k. H is 3, k is 2, b you got as square root of 128 plus minus square root of 128. So simplify this and you will get the coordinates as, maybe you can use your calculator at this step. So square root of 128 is 11.3. So 3 plus 11.31 comma 2, that's positive, and 3 minus 11.31 comma 2, that is negative. So accordingly you will get the coordinates. So now you just plot these coordinates, the 4 points, co-vertices, vertices, foci, all these three, you know the orientation is vertical, so this is your y-axis. Center is x equal to 3 and y equal to 2, so this is my center. Length of major axis, minor axis, everything you have, so that you can do the graph. Similarly, the answer key for question 25 I have provided you here along with the formula sheet. So make sure you learn it, and let's now proceed and solve some more questions. So I will be solving 26 for you, and 27 you can do similarly. So first we need to select which ellipse it is, vertical or horizontal, and that we can do while we compare the coordinates. So let's write the standard form. And now look at denominator, which is more? It is more here in the denominator of y. So that means I will put a square here and b square here. So which ellipse it is? Very easy to see, it is vertical. Now we will find everything: center, foci, length of major, minor axis, and finally do the graph. So let's make the table. So center we need, foci we need, length of major axis we need, length of minor axis we need. Okay, so all these things, let's write the formula. Center is given by h comma k Foci is given by h comma k plus minus c. Length of major axis 2a, minor axis 2b. So let's compare. So how much is my a square? 64. How much is my p square? 27. How much is h? H is 0 because there's nothing with x, and k is 5. So we've got the center 0 comma 5. Let's put the value for this. So 0 comma 5 plus minus c. So for c we will use c square equal to a square minus b square. So use your calculator, do the calculation, and for c we need the square root. So let's do that. So 64 minus 27 will give you 37. So c square is 37. So from here, your c is going to be square root of 37. So do that. It will come out to be a decimal. You can round it off also. So this is 6.08. We've got our c. We can put it here. So the value for center is done. Now foci. So this is 0 comma 11.08 and 0 comma minus 1.02 foci. Remember, okay? Length of major axis 2 square root 64 minus square root 27. So 64 is a perfect square, so 2 multiplied by 8, 16 is my length of major axis. For minor axis, I need to use calculator to get the square root. So square root of 27 will come out to be 5.19. Multiply with 2. So this is like 10.39. Perfect. We have all the answers. Now we need to do the graph. Definitely this is a vertical ellipse. So the y-axis will be the major axis and x-axis will be the minor axis. You can also find your vertices, co-vertices using the formula. And now in the next slide, I will show you the answer key for these two questions. Okay, so this is the answer key for question 26 and 27. Remember, when this question comes for your exam for FRQ, I need all the steps, all the formulae as I show you. Also for the graph, it is advisable to bring graph sheet so that you don't waste time drawing the x and y axis. Then draw your graph neatly, use ruler, use pencil and nicely make your graph to get full marks. Okay, now let's solve some important questions. I will be doing 28 for you and similarly 29 can be done. Here you are given the general form of the equation. So first you need to convert it into standard form. For that we will be using completing the square method. So what I will be doing, I will be combining the like terms x with x, y with y and the number on the other side. So this is 3x square minus 6x together in one bracket plus y square minus 8y together, and this 5 goes on the other side, becomes positive. So now I take the common term out in 3 and 6. We have 3 common, so I'm left with this thing inside and nothing here, so I keep it as it is. Now I'll apply the method of completing the square. So what does that method tell you? Look at your value of b and b divided by 2 whole square. This is the term that you add and subtract. So here b is minus 2. So b divided by 2 will be minus 1. Its square will be 1. So I add 1 and I subtract 1. Okay. Similarly for this one, the value of b is minus 4. Its the value of b is minus 8. So b divided by 2 is minus 4 and its square is 16. So I add 16, I subtract 16 and that's what you get. Now I can combine these terms and these terms using algebra and the square identity. So I get 3x minus 1 whole square plus y minus 4 whole square, and this 3 and this minus 1 will go on the other side. So it's like minus 3 minus 16, and these terms I will in the next step combine with the 5. So what do you get? Add them all. 5 plus 16 plus 3. So this is 19 plus 5 or 24. So this is what I get. Still now I have not reached to the standard form. So in standard form the right side is 1. So how do I make it 1? I divide by 24 on each side. So I have the final standard form now. 24 divided by 3 That's 8. And y minus 4 whole square, 24 equal to 1. So this is my standard form. So now I can compare with x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equal to 1 divide by, now which one is bigger? Bigger is 24. So this is going to be a square, this is going to be b square. So you know that the ellipse which you are going to get here will be vertical. Okay. So let's now find the values. H, if I compare, is 1. K, if I compare, is 4. A square is 24. B square is 8. So you can find your C square as A square minus B square. 24 minus 8. To do that, this is 16. So your C square is 16, or your C is plus minus 4. So you've got all the values. Now you need to use the formula sheet. So for center, it is h comma k. So it is 1 comma 4. For foci, the formula sheet for this question would be having your h comma k plus minus c. So your h is, let's put the value 1, your k is 4 plus minus. So can I say the two foci will be 1 comma 8 if I take plus and 1 comma 0 if I take minus? Wonderful. So we've got the foci. Length of major axis 2a. So 2 square root 4 convert to decimal. This will come out to be 9.8, and 2 multiplied with b, this is 2 square root 8, which is in decimals as 5.66. So we've got everything. Our last part is graph, for which you will find the vertices, co-vertices, join them and get your answer. So now I'll give you the answer key in the next slide. So this is the answer key for question 28-29. I hope you got the correct answers. Okay, now I will also explain for you question 30, which is going to be solved using the same method, that is completing the square. So combine the terms 7x square with minus 56x together, y square with 6y together, and 93 on the other side. So now I take 7 outside common, x square minus 8x. So definitely your b is minus 8, your b divided by 2 is minus 4, and its square is 16. So now I add and subtract 16. Similarly here b is 6, so b divided by 2 is 3 and its square is 9. So I add 9, subtract 9. Okay, now I combine the like terms. This one and this one will give you the square. So this is x minus 4 whole square. And you also have 7 multiplied with 16, not to forget this term. Similarly here you have y plus 3 whole square minus 9. So now I move the numbers on the other side. So this minus 9 and this term will go on the other side. So it will become positive, and I'm left with 7 times x minus 4 whole square plus y plus 3 whole square here. So when I do the calculation, minus 93 plus 9 plus 7 times 16, this whole thing you can just plug it in your calculator, it will be 28. So we divide by 28. Okay. So when we divide everything by 28, we get 1 on the other side, which is what we want. And 28 divided by 7 would give you 4. So the final answer for the standard form will be this. So 28 divided by 4 again. Sorry, this 28 will remain. This is 1. Okay, now we've got the standard form. So once we got standard form, we can compare. Now look at the denominator. Which one is bigger? This one. So this is a square. This is b square. So use c square equal to a square minus b square. 28 minus 4, which is 24. So your c is question square root 24. So now you can convert this into decimal, use your calculator. So it is 4.89. Now you can find everything: center, foci, length of major minor axis, and finally graph the ellipse. You all know the formula: center is h comma k. Similarly, you can find the foci. So I will now provide you the answer key. Remember, major axis 2a, minor axis 2b, and for graph we need the vertices and co-vertices. So your center h comma k is 4 comma minus 3. That's your center. For your foci, you will have h comma k plus minus c. So you already got your c, 4.98. So 1 is positive, so I will write 4 comma minus 3 plus 4.89. That's one foci. Remaining is with the negative sign, so minus 4.89. So eventually the correct answer for the two foci, there are two, will come out to be, the first one with the positive sign is 4 comma 1.90, because we've rounded off this 89, so 90, okay. And the second is 4 comma minus 7.90. So we've got the two foci. Major axis is very easy, 2 times a. So a is square root of 28. You can do that on your calculator, you'll get decimal. B is 2. So minor axis is 2 times 2, which is 4. Major axis is, after converting to decimal, 10.58. So these are your final answers. And now we look at the graph in the next slide along with the answer key. So finally, this is the answer key for the last two questions, 30 and 31, from Learning Objective 19, Graph Equations of Ellipses. And with that, we have come to the end of this session. I hope you found the video useful and it helped you to graph equations of ellipses and solve the FRQ from this topic. Until then, this is Ms. Ruchika signing off from today's session. All the very best for your coming exam. Do well. Bye-bye.